All right, great evening, everyone. It's Monday, so this is the first day in May that we've been able to do our actual Mondays in May. We decided we're going to start moving to a new time. So here we are, Monday at 6 p.m. Central, and this is where we'll be moving forward. So, a lot of people have been using virtual backgrounds and starting to get into the whole idea of using green screens, or maybe not even using a green screen. Maybe they're using or you're using virtual backgrounds with Zoom, which doesn't necessarily require one. But the question is, should you do that? Or might it benefit you to consider creating your own video studio? So, tonight we're going to explore that question. I want to welcome every one of you. I'll definitely be acknowledging you as we go throughout the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. I also will go ahead. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Love this day and time. Stacy. Hi, Victoria, beautiful. All right, I'm excited about talking about this topic, and I'm going to walk you through a demo. But the question we're answering right now is, should I go green screen or should I create my own virtual video studio? And I'm going to walk you through the process that I used to make some decisions here recently. So while we give people a chance to come on board, I'm going to go ahead and share my really, really quick intro video, and I'll be right back to talk about green screen or virtual video studio. All right, here we go. All right, hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Tanya Smith here of Get Noticed with Video, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here. This is our new day and our new time of the week, so I am excited. Several of you have told me that this is a better date and time for you during the week, so I am hoping that it works for you. And good afternoon, Virginia, and good afternoon, Donna. And woohoo, I'm here. LOL. I see, oh, Jackie, so excited for this training. Me too. This is exciting for me. Pat, good to see you there. And then Miss Cheryl Pullins, I don't know if you're here live with me, but I know I saw this comment. I don't like the virtual backgrounds, but definitely need to do something with this bland wall behind me. Well, we're going to explore some options for you, and I want to talk you through kind of the process. So, this is almost going to be like a little bit of a mini training. Let me go ahead and share with you, if you are in my Facebook group, if you're in a Facebook group, make sure that you go to streamyard.com/Facebook so you can give permission to show your face and your profile name. That way I can acknowledge you personally and it won't just say Facebook user. If you're on YouTube or you're on watching on Periscope through Twitter, then I want to acknowledge you as well and tell you thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. I am super excited about this topic and I'm going to dive in. And there's my Jakara. Yes. And Erica. Hey, girl. All right, everybody. Let's talk about this whole virtual studio thing. And as a matter of fact, what I actually did is I put together a little slide deck with some pictures because I thought, you know what? This is one of those topics where I think it's going to be important to show you and not just explain or talk about it in a live stream. So, just for those of you who are joining for the first time, let me do a really quick introduction and just tell you that I have been in business as an online marketing coach, gosh, for more than 10 years now. And my focus is to work with service based businesses to help you to build your social influence through live stream and on camera video. So that's what we talk about is strategies and tips for doing it in a simple fashion, but not helping you to become a videographer. More likely than that, we want you to support what you're already doing with your marketing strategy by using more on-camera video because it works. So, we got to talk about this topic now. So, I will tell you, if you want to get reminders for our future weekly lives, just type in "remind me" in the Facebook comments. If you're in Facebook, this will work. If you're anywhere else, it won't. but type in remind me and that will get you onto my list to be able to get a reminder right before we go live. Okay, so the question of the day is, should I use a green screen or create my own video studio? So, by raise of hands, anybody who's actually using a green screen, let me know. You can put your favorite emoji with a hand raised and let me know. Say yes if you are using a green screen for your videos. Miss LaFern, I have to say a shout out to you, especially because I know this is your birthday week. So happy birthday, one of my favorite people on earth. So, raise of hands if you actually are using a green screen. If I don't see it, then that means maybe not a lot of you are using one yet, but you may be considering, because I've heard from a few of you in my group that you were thinking about it and you were trying to go out and purchase one. But right now, during the quarantine and COVID situation, it's very difficult to purchase and invest in video equipment because they are jacking up the prices. So I do want you to be aware of that. Be careful of that. In fact, it probably was less expensive for me to put together my own virtual video studio than it was for me to invest in some of the things that I needed to have a really good, strong green screen presence. I'm going to talk about that right now. Okay, Yolanda says not quite yet. All right. So let's talk about the differences. And what I'm going to do is I actually am going to pull up my little slide deck. Before I do that, let me talk about why I used green screen, and I'll go ahead and get this one ready as well for our shared screen. The reason why I was using green screen and virtual backgrounds, and I'll share some of them with you in a few minutes so you can kind of, because you're going to be like, oh, wow, that was a green screen. You probably will wonder. But one of the reasons why I really kind of got into using virtual backgrounds and green screens is because I'm a creative, and some of you who are on watching right now are also creatives. And so we tend to like to explore and experiment and try things on. And, if something doesn't work, we try on the next thing, right? So I'm going to be real and honest with you. That was one of the things that led me to doing the virtual background because it wasn't like I had this like really horrible, home where nothing was ever clean. I'm pretty even keeled. And I was conscious about my background at home when I would go on video. But I really, really wanted the creative license to be able to change up my background on a whim. And so let me share real quick with you some of the benefits of having a green screen because there are benefits to this now. So first of all, like I just mentioned that I wasn't really trying to hide my background. I just wanted the versatility. Well, some people use a green screen because it does hide your background. And honestly, I mean, there are scenarios, there are situations where you may be in a position where you feel like, you know what, I don't feel like I'm comfortable with the presence that I've created. I don't feel like the brand that I'm trying to portray online is what's reflected in my background. And that's fine. So green screen can potentially help you with that. Another reason why people use green screens is it helps you to jazz things up, right? So just like I mentioned, I love that whole idea of creative expression. I'm a creator, so I'm constantly creating something, making new things. Mostly in my world, it's the digital space. But I have a daughter, for instance, that loves to make things with her hands. She makes complete towns and cities with Legos, right? She's doing that right now for the summer. She's getting ready, got all her boxes out and set up and ready to do that. But it does help you if you are a creative and you want to have, the ability to be able to jazz things up. It can do that for you. It also gives some versatility. So, depending on your topics and your themes and what you talk about to your marketing audience, it may be useful to help to emphasize a point or to make a message really clear by having a specific type of background, right? So if you're promoting, for instance, travel to, beaches or resorts, then you may want to have a virtual background in that conversation where you're talking and you have behind you a soothing, water scene with the beach behind you and a mai tai on the side or whatever it may be. So it may help you to get a point across. It's also interesting because right now, if you haven't noticed this, just about everybody everywhere now has these virtual backgrounds. The reason being is because since most people are at home and more people are doing on camera video, many of us are engaging in Zoom meetings. And so Zoom actually has the feature of being able to allow you to use the green screen. Now, I saw a question here, and hi there, I'm Sonia Michelle. Good to see you. And she has a really great question. Do you have to purchase a physical green screen? So this is great timing because the answer to that question, if you're using Zoom, is you don't necessarily have to have a true green screen, but there are some quality issues that you may run into. And so that's what we're going to talk about next in terms of some of the disadvantages of using a green screen. So when you're in Zoom, and I should have taken a snapshot of this, I can show you if I need to, but when you're in Zoom and you're looking in the video settings under virtual background, you'll notice that there's a little checkbox that you can check and say, I have a green screen. So if you don't have a physical green screen, you can use their green screen feature as long as your computer system and your graphics card is up to par. And Zoom is going to tell you that. So, what you're going to do if you don't have a physical green screen, but you're trying to get that virtual background to use in Zoom, is you're going to go into video settings in virtual background mode, and you're going to make sure you don't have the box checked that says, I have a green screen, because you don't, right? So if you do not have one, what will end up happening is you're going to get a pop-up if your system, if your whole graphics card and your computer system are not capable of taking on what Zoom needs you to take on in order for that green screen to show, they'll give you a pop-up alert and say, you're not ready. So that's a good thing because now you know that. Sometimes you can click through and still go ahead and use it. But what will happen is you get this really weird effect. And so I'm going to share that with you real quick here. And my personal preference, uh-oh, we went a little too far. Actually, we didn't. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Let me pop it up in big screen here. Um, my personal preference is that if you do green screen, you use a true green screen, okay? Because there are lots and lots of different ways that you can actually create the green screen effect, but the best way to do it is if you have a true green screen. So all of these scenes that you see right now, all of these, let me blow it up real quick. Every single one of these is a green screen. Every single one. And notice how clear, if you look at the image, you can notice how clear I still look. That is because I have a real green screen. Now, if you do not have a true green screen, you're trying to use Zoom without it, and you're trying to say, hey, I want to use Zoom green screen feature, but I don't check the box. What's going to happen is, have you ever seen those little, what do they call them, tube man, the tube man balloons that are in front of a car dealership and they're looking like this? So every time you move around, you're going to find that there's parts of you that are disappearing. It might be some of your hair or your face or your arm or your hand. It's because the feature that is in Zoom is not giving you high quality. So you really want to be thinking about, how can I have a true green screen? Now, do you need to get the expensive one like the one I just showed you? Let me back up so you can kind of see that one. So this one is the one that I use. It's the Elgato green screen. Right now, they're not available. There is a version by, I think it's called Neewer, Neewer. If you need that link towards the end, I'll make sure you have access to my gear list. But this particular green screen is pretty pricey. And the thing about that, though, is that I love, see, notice at the very top how it has a handle and it'll roll up and down. That's an excellent way to actually use a green screen. The only thing is, again, it can be pretty expensive. So an alternative for you, if you're looking to use a green screen, would be to get like a green sheet. You can get a sheet or a tablecloth that's colored exactly in that same type of tone or as close to it as you can possibly get with that green. Okay. There are also some that are blue, but we won't get into that. So green is your safest bet. And you're going to look for a green that's about the color of what you see on screen. The thing about that is that it can be really it can be tricky if you have a sheet because you have to have a way to post it up to make sure that it's stable, that it doesn't have wrinkles. I used to use a green sheet. So I had this green sheet that was the color of what you see on screen. And what I would have to do is to iron it out almost every time I got ready to do a live. So it was not fun. It was definitely not easy. But absolutely. And yes, you asked the question, you can use a green screen. Yes, you can. You can, you don't only have to use green screen. I'm sorry. Let me answer that question. You can use it. It's an option, but you don't have to use it. So I'm just giving you some options here. Awesome. And LaFern loves hers. She's so glad she followed the recommendation last year. Yes, because then it was cheaper, but now it is not. So now I would highly suggest don't go and try to purchase it at this moment in time. Wait a little bit for things to die down in terms of video equipment because everybody's buying stuff right now. So all of these scenes were done with a true green screen, which is why they look so clear, why I don't look like I'm melding and blending into the background. I'm separate and apart. I'm still me, right? Where you see the separation of myself and the actual background. So here's some of the disadvantages and why you really want to think about maybe not using a green screen. Well, first of all, I already mentioned it can be expensive. It can also be time consuming because if you're sitting there like I was, having to iron that sucker out all the time, that is not fun. Not fun at all. Hey, Cheryl, good to see you. The other thing is, and this is really key, this is what I want you to hear my heart on. If you're going to use green screen, there's a couple of things you need to definitely watch for. Lighting is number one, because you need to make sure there's even light on your green screen. So you've got to have really good lighting that's evenly showing on your green screen and is not creating shadows in any of those places because that will end up messing up your visual. Positioning. So the way in which you position it is also going to matter. So, meaning that if you have, for instance, when I got the Elgato, I realized, wow, I have to be super close to that thing in order for my camera to capture all of it, or else it's going to show a little corner over here that has nothing to do with the background that's in the rest of the shot. So, positioning is key. Making sure you have the proper lighting is key. Making sure that your laptop is equipped and your camera are equipped to handle what you're asking of it. So you're going to have to test and experiment and make sure that it looks as clean as what you saw. Um, and clothing, something you may not have thought about. Don't wear green because you're going to disappear if you're sitting in front of a green screen, and there's certain tones of yellow also that will do this as well. So you're going to want to test all of that out before you ever go live with a green screen and make sure that you're wearing colors that will stand apart from the screen itself. Otherwise, you disappear like the invisible person, and all you are is a talking head with some hands moving. Okay, so when you get it wrong, it can be really, really wrong. And you see my little tube band right there. That could be really, really bad. Good evening, Thesia. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, these are disadvantages and advantages of green screen. If you missed anything that we talked about, definitely go back and catch the replay because it's important that you notice the reasons why you would versus maybe not use a green screen. I know a lot of people use a green screen because they like, again, the opportunity to have versatility. And so for many years, for a long time, I've been using a green screen when I feel like it. Like I still would show my own personal background, but I was also using my green screen when I felt like it, just because of that creative expression thing. So it does give you that versatility and the ability to be able to have some choices. And I do like that. So there's no wrong answers, is what I'm trying to say. but I want to give you some additional options. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of creating your own studio. And then I'm going to walk you through the process that I took to create mine because I know I've gotten some questions on that. All right. So, benefits of creating your own studio. It can be super fun if you love creating. It can help you with your branding. So, my branding queen, Cheryl Pullins, is on the line right now. And I know you know this, but a lot of other people may not. It's important for you to make sure that you have some consistency with your brand, right? When I first started out coaching, that was the number one thing that I would work with my clients on is the brand. And part of the reason why brand and making sure that whatever is around you and is in your environment from a marketing perspective is reflecting who you are as the professional that you say you are, is it helps to build your credibility. It helps people to see you as reliable and they become more loyal to you more quickly because they see you as a person who is consistent. So, having consistency in the things that represent you. So, for instance, I use my raspberry pink color just about everywhere I go. It's just what I love. It's on my website, it's on my social media posts. You see it here. It gives a sense of comfort, right, to the people that are watching and that are paying attention. And LaFern Beatty, you are also a brand magician, a brand genius. So you know this too. These are critical factors. These are things that help, and they're psychological. They're not always as obvious. But if you're changing it up every week, so this week I'm wearing green, and next week I got yellow, and the next week I've changed my logo, and all of that tends to chip away at your credibility. So I think that this doing my own studio, when I sat down and decided I was going to do it, part of it was also about building the brand. And the other thing, the other advantage to it is that it is more permanent. So instead of me having to switch out my photos and to figure out, hey, which video or which virtual background do I want to use today? Instead of me having to go and get the green screen and make sure that it was pulled up and it was, in the space and properly positioned, this virtual studio that I've created, this video studio I've created is more permanent. But there are some things that you need to know. It can take time. Let's move that out of the way. Hold on. It can take some time. You need to test things out and make sure that it's what you want it to look like. And it can require some patience with yourself. Because I tell you, I kept beating myself up about it. And I had some of the stuff I'm about to share with you for months. And I just wouldn't do anything with it because I was like, it's not perfect. It's not where I want it to be. It's not, and don't we all do that? Raise your hand if you beat yourself up because things are not perfect. And did you know that perfection or this desire for perfection tends to hold us back more than anything? So we got to get past that, right? And sometimes getting it done is better than none. So here we go. I'm going to show you or walk you through my process for actually creating the studio. And if you've got questions, put those in here. Yes, Virginia said, me. I know, Pat, me. Every day I'm beating myself up. I know we all tend to do this. And so the key is to make sure that you are not allowing that to hold you back. We're still going to do it. We're still going to beat ourselves up. We're still going to say things to ourselves like, I can't do it because it's not quite where I want it to be. That's okay. Sometimes we have to move past our own self, right? So I ended up moving past my own self because I was sitting at Video Marketing World 2020 this year. Usually it's in Dallas, but this time it was virtual. And so one of my mentors, Jeremy Vest, had several guests that were speaking. And the speaker that went second happened to be someone who I also follow, Luria Petrucci. And when I heard her talk, like I could barely even hear after the first 10 minutes of her talking, I could barely even hear any more of what she was saying because all I heard her say was, you need to have your own studio. And I thought, the message just keeps confirming. And here's the thing. People kept asking me about green screens. They kept asking me where to find them and how to find an affordable one and how do you set up. And I thought, I've got to have an alternative option for my folks. I've got to be able to tell my community what else they can do, right? That you can do fairly quickly and that still will look nice and be a great background for you. So, if some of you have watched me for a while and you may recall this little picture right here. This right here was my old studio. Okay. This was my old studio. So this was me in the same room where I am right this minute. Okay. That space where I'm pointing to with the arrow is where I decided to make my virtual studio. So I basically just kind of tore that whole corner apart. And it's just a corner. If you notice this, it's a small part of the entire room up here where I am. So the rest of the room is still meant for other things. But that corner is what I'm going to show you and walk through with you. Okay. So what I ended up doing is I started taking it apart. And I mean, when I say I started taking this thing apart, literally within the same day, like I could barely listen to anything else Luria was saying when I'm watching Video Marketing World. I hate to say that. I had to go back and watch the replay because it just triggered for me. I'm like, what? I've been sitting on this stuff for like months now. Why am I sitting on it? Why am I not doing something with this? I can find a space. I will find a space. I will make a space. So I chose a space. And when I chose that space, within the next 48, maybe 72 hours for the most part, I was able to get everything done. So here's what I did. So I removed all this stuff from this wall. I knew that the wall was white and I wanted it to have some color. Like I didn't want the typical, I'll say a lot of people tend to have kind of like the white background with a table in the back with a flower or a vase or some type of image or quote or whatever right behind them. And I wanted something that would represent me, something that would be a little bit different. And so I started looking at a couple of different things, and I'll share with you what I did. It's pretty funny. But I started looking at a couple of different things to kind of consider what I was going to do. And one of the things that kind of struck out at me, I don't know if you remember seeing the image that I showed you a little bit earlier, but one of them was a brick wall. And I loved that was one of my favorite images to use. And at the time, it had my Mindfully Marketing brand behind it, which still was that raspberry pink. And I thought, you know what, that could look really nice. So I actually had my husband purchase, he and my daughters, this was on my Amazon wish list for Christmas last year, but I had them find me some peel and stick, sorry, peel and stick wallpaper that looked like I wanted it to look. Okay. Peel and stick. So that's what this is behind me is a peel and stick wallpaper, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And it had been sitting like rolls of it. I had already measured the wall, measured the space, and I actually was going to use a different space in this area. I'd already measured it, so I knew exactly how much I needed, but it had been sitting in a roll on the floor for a while, for months. Because, right now it's May, and they bought this in December. Yeah, it is very neutral. Thank you, ma'am. And so natural is what you said. Hi, Sherelle. Yes, the reason why I wanted this is because it spoke to me. So you have to think about what backgrounds speak to you. And one of the things that I did is I actually also looked on Pinterest. So you can definitely find virtual backgrounds or home office studios. Just type those type of keywords in, get some ideas from others that have done what you're trying to do, right? And whatever is speaking to you and to your brand, go with that. Just try it. It can't hurt. You're experimenting, right? There's no wrong answer. So I found peel and stick. And so let me show you what else I did with that. Oh, if I can get it up there, there we go. So I found some peel and stick. And so these are 3 phases that I went through. So the first phase, you can see down here, this is the peel and stick brick, right, on the floor. Then here's phase two. Took my time and I followed the instructions. And here's the key: if you're doing a peel and stick, what you want to make sure that you do is you find one that's already got the adhesive so that you don't have to spend the time and the money going to get adhesive and a brush to put on the back of the wallpaper. So I wanted some that already had the sticky. Look for that. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit more costly, but it works. So I just set up this little corner right here and I brought the brick all the way over to the door. And I actually decided I was going to cover the door too. I think I have a picture of a final product, but I covered the door as well. And then I had a little corner over here that you can kind of see on my screen that was not quite working out. Like somehow my peel and stick didn't come together like I wanted it to. It just was looking a little odd. And I also wanted to make sure I had enough chair room because I don't know about you, but when I'm working, I like to kind of scoot back, right? So I scoot back and forward. And it's just one of those things. So I thought I don't want to block myself in and get claustrophobic with a table behind me, which is normally what I see people do. So I decided to find myself a corner shelf that I could put things on, right? So thank you. I'm so glad you love it. So yeah, this was really a thoughtful process. It's something that took a little time, but honestly, I have been stewing on it for several months. Okay. So it really wasn't as overnight as it sounds. I had been stewing on it and just starting to slowly pull together things that I thought I might want based on the pictures and the research I was doing of other people's setups. So I found this handy little which I love. I found this little shelf. And let me tell you, like, I think that the peel and stick paper was probably about 70 to 80 bucks, right? So if you want to know cost wise, right? 70 to 80 bucks, maybe. And that was probably the most expensive thing that I bought because this shelf was only about 20 bucks. So let me show you a couple of other things. Some of the other things that I had already existed, like I already owned them. So if you can kind of see this picture right here, when I was thinking about my setup, I was thinking about my brand and I was thinking, oh my goodness, if I wanted to tell people something about myself without telling them, like if I wanted to showcase who I am through just little accessory items, what would I show? So I will share with you all, and I don't know that I've shared this much with many people, but since I was a little girl, I've always collected Wonder Woman stuff, like always. And I know a lot of people do now, especially with the movie that came out and everything. But I was like watching the first Wonder Woman. Some of you know what I'm talking about, with the lasso of truth and invisible jet and all of that, right? That was my girl. That was my girl. And so I thought if I can, because I literally have a closet full of Wonder Woman stuff. My car actually has Wonder Woman plates. They're classic. They're not like kitty looking. They don't look like comic strip stuff. But I have that. I have little tire valve stubs on my car. My car is red. So I'm really into it, but not on a level that's like crazy level. I like stuff that looks like a woman when it comes to Wonder Woman and not really comic like. So I was trying to figure out how can I actually do something with this. And so I went into the closet, the walk-in closet where I keep a bunch of stuff and started going through it. And I found that I had several items that would look really nice on that shelf. So I'm sharing this with you as a thought process, not so that you can say, oh, I got to do exactly that too, but so that you can kind of get my thinking and you can start thinking about how can I process questions for myself? How can I think about what would be representative of me as a whole person and not just a business, right? That's what I was trying to do. Let's move on because there's a couple other things I want to show you. But so I was able to find, and I took some of the best things I could possibly find, and I put my little Wonder Woman statuette with this gold lasso cup that I had collected years ago, and a letter opener, and a little plant. And then I also got some pink lighting because everything is about mood setting and lighting with your virtual studio, y'all. So, in addition to the pink lighting, which you can kind of sort of see behind me, let me see if I can pull myself up. You can kind of see it. If I move myself a little bit away, I actually found these little branches. So, these right here, I found these on Amazon, maybe 12 bucks a pop. And these were the color I was looking for because I was looking for that pink, right? To accent everything. So I bought those just to give me a little accent lighting. So that's okay, 70, 60, 70 bucks for the peeling stick, $19 for the shelf, 11 or 12 bucks for two of the little twig light things. Um, this stuff with the Wonder Woman, I already had it because it represents what I collect. This little picture that you see behind me, let me put it big real quick here. So this little picture that's right up here is one of my favorite quotes, and I just happened to find it. I think it was like maybe 5 bucks online. And it's smaller than what I would like, but it was a nice little accent that again still brought out the raspberry pink and said something that meant something to me. The camera, you see, I have two cameras there. So one is my DSLR camera, which I'm using right now, and the other one is my go-to camera, which is the C922. This is the one I usually recommend to people, the C922. I'll have to do another video on the Canon and the DSLR camera so that you know that there's something new that's come out. But anyway, later for that. So these are all things that were part of my studio. There's more that I don't have time to show you, but yes, yes, Victoria, pink lighting. Just find whatever is going to complement your brand. And so my brand is the raspberry pink, but I also love the Wonder Woman and I didn't want it to clash. So I found a way to really just kind of meld all of those things together so that it became, so that it became what I wanted it to become. I think I ended up going all the way back. So let me pull that down. But let me show you again so you can see this. So these were my green screens. And notice there's one right there that inspired me to find the brick wall, the peel and stick wallpaper. Okay. If you go into Amazon, you can find peel and stick wallpaper. You can also find some on sale and on discount at Hobby Lobby, Joann's Fabrics. Just look for your local places. Victoria, you would know exactly how to find stuff like this, being the designer that you are. But yes, 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 there's so much stuff that you could actually find. Oh, this is a good question. Let me make sure I answer this. So Victoria says, cannot wait to learn about the cameras. Are you using two cameras and not your phone at all? So when I do live streaming, because I'm doing my live streams from my laptop every time, just about every time, I usually do use either my DSLR camera or my C922. Okay. My webcam is reliable. It doesn't shut off on me. It's never given me any problems. So I do love my cameras. Now my smartphone camera does a great job. And I will do that if I'm doing like a quick story. But for the most part, I absolutely love using the cameras I just mentioned if I'm doing a live stream through StreamYard in particular. Right. Okay. So Donna said, too bad they don't have green peel or stick green paper or that color paint. They might. I don't know. I don't know. But look, Pat, yes, when you say do this within your budget, yes. And then I saw another comment from LaFern up here. You speak to my frugal finery spirits. I know. Look, because it's not about going all out and like spending a ton of money. What I was trying to do is to supplement or complement what I'd already purchased. I already bought the green screen. I have that available for me. I just wanted some ease. I wanted something that was a little more permanent, something that felt like me, some place where I felt comfortable and confident, right? That I could walk in, sit down, and start videotaping. And if that's something that you want, then having a permanent virtual studio just in a little bitty corner, this is not taking up a lot of room. This is a small space, but it was perfect for what I wanted to do and to create. So think about ways that you can do that and definitely on a budget. And it's going to take some time because you're going to find those little knickknacks and those things that speak to you. I tell you, I ordered this Choose Joy plaque that was the perfect pink and it never came in. Amazon lost it once and then they sent me a totally wrong product the next time. So I said, forget it. I'm going to go with what I have. And the simpler, the better. Because here's the key, you do not want your background to distract from your message. It's supposed to accent your message. It's supposed to accent your brand. So all of these things were things to consider when I was thinking about building my own virtual studio. And there's some other tips I can share with you too, which I'll share throughout the week, especially in the group. In terms of my desk setup, there were things I wanted to share with you, but I knew it was going to take a longer time. It's almost like this is turning into a webinar, and I didn't want to do that to you. So I'll share more of those tips with you. But yeah, this hopefully was helpful to give you some ideas. It looks like it was. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You've inspired me. Good, Tracy. I'm so happy. Because yeah, you can find frugal spirits in the house. You can find the things that you need to create your personal studio. And again, it's going to give you more of a boost professionally. It's going to build your credibility. It's not going to look tacky and amateurish, which sometimes a green screen can do. Now, if you're going to use the green screen, again, it's not a wrong answer. You just want to test it out and make sure that you talk to people that you trust. If you're inside of my Facebook group, people will tell you if you just put a test video in there and let us know to give you some feedback, then we will be happy to share that with you. I thought I had a banner up for that, but it is, let me find it, getnoticedwithvideo.com/community. If you want to join our free Facebook group, it's right there. But we can give you some feedback and let you know, hey, this green screen's not working for you, or look, there might be a little adjustment that you need to make. You know what? Because we're there to support each other and encourage each other and lift each other up to do better with video, right? So it's not about tearing you down. It's about giving you tips to be even better on camera. All right. So I'm looking to see if I have questions, and all I have right now is some compliments, which is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was more than useful. Thank you. This was great. Your nuggets are always valuable. I really appreciate your comments. I hope that you'll come back. We're going to be back here next Monday. What I'll be doing with this particular video is I'm going to transition it into a blog post as well as a couple of other things. So if you don't know how to repurpose your live video, I'm coming up with like 1,000 ways of doing this, and we're going to be hosting a new course on this real soon and a challenge as well. So I'm working on some stuff all day tomorrow with one of my coaches, my personal coach, and then I'll be passing that knowledge on to you through some additional training. So looking forward to it. Tanya is my not so secret sauce. I love you, LaFern. Oh, Cheryl, thank you. I hope it gave you some ideas because you are knocking it out the park with your videos, girl. And your videos are not bland, by the way, not in any way. You're always well branded and beautiful. I am so excited that you all are going to kind of take some of these ideas, stew them around a little bit. Don't take 6 months like I did. Come up with some ideas and put them in place. Remember, you can do that. Just start looking right now and start stocking up. Find little things that will help to accent your brand. All right. I appreciate you all too. And I will look forward to seeing you on next Monday. And for those of you who are in the group, we actually have a community chat this coming Friday, the 15th. So I'll make sure to send a reminder about that in the group here soon. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. And thank you, Delana. I appreciate it. Yay. Have a good night, everybody. And if you celebrated Mother's Day yesterday, I hope you had some relaxed time and that you'll enjoy the week as well ahead. Take care, and I'll see you next time.